Hey guys, it's Tah. Welcome back. And if you're new, welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you. So for today, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the month of July since it's over. And we're well into August 3rd today. Yes. So for July, I have read a total of 24 books. I would say that's one of the better months so far. Super excited about it. The first 12 books, I did a mid-month wrap-up, which I will link up above if you want to check that out. And then the next 4 books, One Day in December, Christmas Haven, Sugar Pine Trail, and Scenes from a Holiday, which are all Christmas related. This I did it was a 2-part vlog on Christmas in July, so I will link that above as well if you guys want to check that out. And then for the rest of the books, let's see where we're at. Okay, so let's go down the list. The Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows by Bali Kaur Jaswal. I'm not 100% I said that right, but apologize if I didn't. This one I really enjoyed. I didn't think I would after it started, but it just got really interesting. It's about this girl named Nikki who is a law student dropout. After her dad died, she had to figure out a way of kind of helping financially with her family, which is her mom and her sister. And she winds up working in a pub, which her mom hates. And she runs across this ad that says they're looking for basically like a person to do a class on writing, some type of writing class. So she goes, she applies, she winds up getting it. Well, these women that come into this room, she realizes it's supposed to be a class where they learn English and learn how to write it, because they do not know how to do that. But one of the students finds a English book or whatever, I think it is, with like erotic stories in it, and they started reading that and told a story out of it, and she could see that all the women were like super excited to listen to it and talk about it and kind of make up their own stories. So it wound up turning into where each woman had a story she would share, and they were all erotica, and they had to keep this secret because of the big brothers, or the brothers as they call it, which are the males for the community, and that is not even appropriate for them to be doing, but they enjoyed it very much. And she had a lot of trials and tribulations along the way, people trying to step in her way and get her off course and all that, and she held on and they got it done. But I really enjoyed reading that one just to see what type of hoops they had to jump through and learning about the culture of the Punjabi women. I thought that was great. Definitely enjoyed it very much. I don't know if this person has any other books out, but I would be interested to look at something else they have written. And then the next one is The Push by Ashley Audrain, I believe is how you say it. They'll be all popped up here. This one was like a psychological thriller, and it was about this girl named Blythe. She wound up getting pregnant, and she was worried that she wouldn't know how to do this mother thing. And then when her daughter came along, she felt like something was wrong with her, but nobody would kind of believe what she was saying. It was a lot of motherly issues between her and the daughter. Like, she could never get that bond, and it kind of caused a little trouble with the husband. But then her son came along, and it was like motherhood was super easy. Unfortunately, something did happen, a very tragic event, and it all kind of stems back to her first child. Like she had said, something's not quite right with her, and going through the years with her daughter, there were certain points that you almost were like, is this really mother-daughter? Because it was kind of bad, but overall, it was a really great book. You really got to see into the mind of like how this little girl felt about certain situations, but from the mom's aspect, like from her point of view, it was, okay, I'm sitting here saying something's wrong with my child. That is not right. And then she winds up meeting this other person, and she asks her, like, do you think something's wrong with my child? And stuff like that. And it's just like, how do you admit that you know something's wrong with them, but like nobody believes you? And then the freaking, like what's the word I'm looking for? Hello, train. Like the twist that came in this book, some of this, I was like, what? I was not expecting some of that. But overall, I really enjoyed this book as well. It definitely explored the mind of a mother, a new mother, things that you think about that you probably shouldn't. So like, it's almost like I'm not alone, because maybe you've thought some of those things. But again, it is fiction, so yeah, whatever. Anyway, the next one was The Yellow House by Sarah Broom, and it was a memoir. And this one was, the author originally is from New Orleans, and this one talked about, and this one was for my TBR, it was for the prompt, family tree. So she went through, she introduced different members of her family and the area that they lived in New Orleans. And they talked about different hurricanes and different events that happened throughout. And I learned a few things that I did not know about situations that some of the, like Hurricane Betsy happened in I don't even know, like 1965, 1970, somewhere around there. And they were talking about stuff that I had never heard of, about how they were like blowing up levees with dynamite to save certain parts of New Orleans and not other parts. And these people only had 20 minutes to get out of their homes to get to the bridge to be rescued because the water just came up so fast. And I wasn't even born then, so obviously I wouldn't have known anyway. But just seeing how that happened, it's like, holy shit, that's 2 hours away from me, and the water, like, it just came up. And then she started talking about like Hurricane Katrina, which I graduated the year Hurricane Katrina struck. And I remember seeing it on the news, and like we didn't have nearly anything like they in New Orleans had. Like, it was two different worlds, really it was. But just some of the stuff, because two of her siblings rode out the storm in New Orleans itself. The rest, everybody else in the family had evacuated, or they already lived far away. And just some of the stuff that her brothers went through and the way they talked and said about different events that occurred during that time and when they were evacuated to different areas after the fact. I was just blown away because I really didn't know much of that. Like, I knew about some of it, but not all of it. And I was just like, holy crap. And it just kind of went along. And then you kind of got to follow the process of, I'm not sure what she called it, but it's basically FEMA. And just to see how long it took for these people to be able to recover their possessions that may have been left, or get the insurance money or whatever for their properties that they had. And it was a very trying time with Hurricane Katrina. It really was. And I never wish that on anybody ever. That was horrible. It was almost like a kick in the face to read it. Kind of more of like she didn't experience, but like I said, her brothers did. And she talked to her whole family about writing this book, so they all knew this was going to be in there. And just hearing their firsthand experience, it was insane. Wow. So, yeah, I really enjoyed Sarah Broom's book. And like I had said before in another video, I don't go and rate memoirs, because I don't want to rate somebody's life story. I would never want somebody to put a rating on my life story. But I did enjoy it. I learned a lot. My heart ached a lot, but overall, a great read. The next one was The Color Purple by Alice Walker. And this one right here, I heard about it before, but like I didn't really know what all was going to happen in this book. And I keep saying it, I really enjoyed this one too. But this one was cool because the main character, Cecile, I think her name was. Yes, this was basically a story of her independence. She was fighting for her independence, and it started out with her writing letters to God, and then eventually they turned into letters to her sister, because she was sent off to marry this older man, and it just, from what I can understand, in the beginning it was kind of all right, and then it didn't become all right. He would beat her and stuff. Well, anyway, his mistress wound up coming into the picture, and there were moments between the two women, and she kind of like found herself, I guess. It's like started to find herself, and then she wound up becoming her own woman. Like, she found a way to make money. She moved away from the husband, and they found out they're better as friends anyway. And just her journey on becoming herself, who she is, it was just a fantastic read. And just to see, the only thing that took me a while to get used to was the writing, because it was not grammatically correct whatsoever. So you have to like dumb yourself down in order, like for me to read it, I had to dumb myself down because I was trying to read it the way you would normally read a sentence, but that's not how it's written. But overall, enjoyed it, watching her go from like this little meek person to this I am woman, I am strong, hear me roar. And she roared, and I loved every minute of it. So yeah. And then the next one I read, this one is called A Short History of the Girl Next Door by Jared Reck. This is his debut. I'm not sure if he has any other books. But this one was about best friends, Matt and Tabby. And you got to see how Tabby came into his life, and how his love for her kind of evolved, and just it was all from like his perspective on how he saw situations they were in together. And then one day a tragic accident happens, and from that point Matt is completely not Matt. He kind of goes off the deep end. He's mean to everybody. He doesn't feel like anybody is worthy of, I guess, of his time, really. Or he should be the only one sad for the situation that occurred, not everybody else. And it's like everybody else played a part in the life, but he just felt like it's my guilt, it's my problem to deal with. You should not be sad about that. But when he finally like opens his eyes and understand what's going on, thanks to his grandfather, he's able to see from a different perspective, to see like how wrong he was in what he did. So this one was it was short. It's like, I want to say, 262 pages. So really short, straight to the point. And it pretty much revolves like school, a little bit of home type life, and just their everyday relationship, and how once like a boyfriend comes along, how it kind of separates you and you get away from each other, but then you realize what you're doing and you're like, no, we're best friends, let's fix this. So it was a lot of ups and downs between him and Tabby, and it was just, it was real life. It was probably something you've experienced in high school or junior high. Like a boy comes along with your best friend, and all of a sudden you aren't as close, you aren't as sharing as many details, and you get hurt by that. I know I've had that happen. Like, you're not that person's center of attention anymore. And that's kind of the whole Matt and Tabby situation. And it was almost like you were pretty much reading your own life story. Maybe not. But like, pulled out of your high school, let's put your name into it and see how different it is. So yeah. All right, and the last three, I'll pop them all up here. They are all part of Katie Roberts' Wicked Villains series. And it is basically a Disney retelling, but for adults. It's like an adult romance, kind of contemporary, but it's on like erotic BDSM type stuff. The first one is Desperate Measures, which is the story of Jasmine and Jafar. And for this one, Jasmine's dad is not the best. He is a shady type person, and he has, his security, and he is very cruel to Jasmine. He actually beats her and stuff. And she is basically told hey, you're going to marry Ali, which we know as Aladdin. And he's just as cruel. Well, Jafar, his second in command, winds up killing him and takes over his territory, as they're called, because they're in this, the whole world is called Carver City, like this little world that you're in, and is run by Hades. And everybody has a territory that is theirs to protect, but Hades is over all of it, and he has a neutral ground. So Jasmine and Jafar, he winds up killing her dad, which puts him in control of taking all of his stuff, as well as Jasmine, I own you type thing. But he did give her an opportunity, you can run away, and if you make it to the door, you're free. You can do whatever. But if you don't, you're mine, heart, body, soul, you name it. So it kind of goes from that plot point to he's protecting her from Ali, and it gets hot and steamy, I'll tell you that. It was really good for me. If you're into erotica type novels, yes. And it was a Disney retelling, so why not? And then in the first book, you're also introduced to Hades, Megara, which is from the movie Hercules, Tink from Peter Pan, and then Captain Hook is in there, and they talk about the Beast and different ones. So it's going to all stem off of this, these characters, and each character is going to have their own book. And it seems like for all of them that instead of the Prince Charming, it'll be the villain taking the princess, or whatever their title is. The second one is Learn My Lessons, and that one is Hades and Meg's story. And Meg is pretty much owned by Hades at this point for life. But here comes little Hercules, as he's called. Hades makes Meg seduce Hercules to kind of bring him in, but little did they know that little Hercules is Hades' little pawn because of Zeus, Hercules' dad. And they wind up having a throuple, a couple, 3 people in a relationship, and it works out for them. They go through everything, and they have to fight off, obviously, the storyline, which would be Zeus, and there's some interaction there. And then for the last book, A Worthy Opponent, which is Tinkerbell and Captain Hook. And Tinkerbell is under Hades' protection because of Peter Pan, and she's been under the protection for 4 or 5 years at this point. Well, as soon as she gets out, she's scared because it's Peter. He beats her. He's not a good person, and she's scared he's gonna come. So Hook is basically her savior there, and they go back and forth. And Tink is sarcastic, and just like she is in all the movies with because if you know Tinkerbell, she has multiple movies as well as the actual Peter Pan film, and she's very sarcastic in those, and it carries through to this, and I absolutely love that. Because if it wouldn't have been a sarcastic Tink, then it really wouldn't have been a retelling. So I think right now there are 7 books out in this series, 6 or 7, I can't remember the exact number. The next one is The Beast, and I cannot wait for that one. I've been listening to those on audio. So next one's The Beast, and the one after that I think involves Ursula, the Sea Witch. So I'm hoping she does every single villain. Like, that'll be amazing, because like I said, I love Disney. As you can see, I got a whole bunch of Disney stuff up there. I've got Disney tattoos there and there. Mary Poppins, I got a Mary Poppins portrait. So Disney, yes, love it. Retellings, love a good retelling, so I'm super excited to look out for those. So yeah, I have no idea if this was a good video or not. If my thoughts came out like they were jumbled in my head, I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Big thumbs up if you did. And I will see you all in the next video, which I'm not even sure what it is yet. Bye, guys.